Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to go over how to contest Vertigo A ramp on T side without having to take any risks fighting up the ramp. Alright, so the first thing you need to know is the util that the CTs are throwing at ramp at the start of the round, and that is most commonly this bottom yellow smoke. And this smoke denies the Ts any vision of anyone swinging out Ivy from the CTs, and also covers yourself from Crane. But the most common smoke that is used by Ts at the start of the round is a lurk smoke at the top of the ramp, so that's why we don't really see the bottom ramp smoke anymore, because the CTs will like to go for a play that needs this smoke open so you can clear the ramp. And if you're throwing the bottom ramp smoke, it kind of makes this play useless, which is like, one of the strongest plays on CT. So the most common smoke nowadays that we will see is the bottom yellow smoke. And the way I'm going to show you for T side contesting the ramp works no matter which smoke they throw, but, we're just mostly going to see this smoke, so I'm going to talk about that today. Alright, so now that you know what smoke we're most likely going to be seeing from the CTs, it doesn't really matter to us what mollies they're throwing at the start of the round, because we are not going to be pushing up the ramp to fight. We are not going to be peeking this and dueling this early. We are just going to be sitting here and waiting after we throw the util that I'm going to show in a second. Alright, so the first bit of util that we need to throw on T side is having the first person come here and throw a molly Ivy like this. So it lands right here on this ramp and denies any early push through Ivy, and denies them of getting any info early or taking any early fights on the ramp. And after you throw this molly, don't make the mistake of coming into this corner and sitting here. I've done this before, and I know a lot of you guys have as well, and this corner is really awful because you just get naded, you get mollied, you get isolated. It's just a really bad spot to play. What you want to do after you throw this molly is just come here, throw the molly, jump like this, and I'll show you the next piece of util we need, which is the smoke for the top of the ramp. And this can be done by this player that throws the molly. You can just throw the molly, come like this, aim right here like at the shadow, step and throw the smoke. Or if you have two players, you can just have one person throw the molly, and then the second person come behind and throw the molly like this. Very similar lineup, just aim at the shadow and run and throw. So now that we have our nades on the ramp, what is the next threat we have to worry about? And that would be an early nade onto this lurk smoke and them trying to fight us. So we want to make sure that we aren't just standing around in the middle of the open trying to take duels like this, because, this is going to be a pretty tough fight for us if we're just sitting here fighting with the smoke and they just need it open and kill us for free. That's obviously not ideal, so we need to be playing safe early after we throw our nades, and I'll talk about how we want to progress up the ramp with our Ivy molly. So after we throw our starting nades, what we want to do is basically stall out and deny them Ivy until they make their play on the ramp, or just push them off altogether. So as we know, I talked about this smoke being the most common one. We will most likely see this. So with this smoke being up and our Ivy molly being up for around 7 seconds, what we need to do is one of two things. So we have our ramp lurk smoke, right? If we have an opper or just two more riflers with us, something really strong we can do with this bottom yellow smoke is having one person sit here with an HE, while these people sit here getting ready for a play, which is nading open the smoke and peeking as the Ivy player tries to walk out after a molly. So we want to time it, so when our molly is starting to fade, we get ready to HE, we bounce an HE like this, nade open the smoke entirely, and we have two players peek with the cover of our ramp lurk smoke and try and kill this player while they're trying to sneak out, around 7 seconds after we threw our molly. That way, we've given ourselves a chance at a, opening kill, and we also basically cleared this entire line, because if anyone was here trying to use this yellow smoke, they most likely would have tried to walk through after the molly, and, we have info that no one is pushing down yellow at the moment. After you do that nade break play, you could just try and go through the smoke with the info that no one was pushing down, but that's a little risky, and the CTs might be able to peek from, this angle, which is pretty tough for you. So I want to talk about the safest way to deny info, and that would be just throwing another molly through the yellow smoke. So what that would look like is you just start the round by throwing the molly early like I showed, wait, the 7-8 seconds, HE the smoke, clear the rundown, it's clear. Then after you clear the rundown, have one person come here, line up here at this box, aim in the middle of this square, come out to the left of this wall here, and just left click throw. And this molly will land just like the one I showed at the start, and after this molly starts to fade, that's about the perfect time for when the smoke fades, and we've basically denied all info the CTs can get from Ivy, because he was, mollied at the start. If he tried to push out, we would have killed him or spotted him, and if he tried to push out after our HE, he's getting remollied, so there's no way for him to get 51, and we know that Ivy is clear, which makes our life so much easier when we're working up the ramp, because we can just have our Opper or any rifler just hold this for info, because their bottom yellow smoke is faded now, and the other two riflers can just freely work up the ramp, walk up together, trade each other easily. They can work up Ivy now, molly deeper Ivy. It's just a lot easier for us as on the T side if we deny them any sort of Ivy control. And then after that, once we've denied all of Ivy, we get people working up Ivy or the ramp. The only thing we really need to do is, throw something like a flash like this if we have our Ivy players, working up further on the ramp to take these fights. Same thing if we're working this way, throw a flash bottom yellow so we can peek these angles, get a molly on sandbags, and just be wary of the boosts from the CTs, either the Ivy boost or the crane boost, and just make sure you have one person playing anti-flash, because a very common play is having the CTs come here and throw a retake flash. So make sure you're not just running up the ramp together and just like dueling like this. Make sure you're playing safe, having one person anti-flash. But yeah, there's not really too much I can go into depth here, because it really depends on what util the CTs are throwing. If they're throwing a smoke like here, it's things will be a little different. If they end up smoking themselves sandbags, you're gonna have to play on the fly. But the most important thing is denying this IV control so we can get this control, or deny the info, because another thing is we don't actually always have to be sending bodies up the ramp after we deny this info. It's really strong if we throw the same amount of util on a different round that we're playing, and we just make them think that we're there and we're not, and we just deny all the info. It's really strong for us to go into a mid walk or a B exec because we're pulling the rotates. So just change it up and think for yourself, and you guys can do this. One more thing, if you're going to be throwing that flash I was talking about that lands here, you want to throw it like this if you can. If there's no smokes on the ramp, just come to like this wall, aim here, crouched at the top of this roof, and get the flash to bounce like this. This flash is really broken because it will flash like anyone towards Ivy that's like standing here trying to hold, and it will also flash anyone crane. So yeah, throw the flash like that. Don't always throw it like this, but if you have to like throw it fast for your teammates, just throw it there. It's not a big deal. But if you have time to line it up, this is really good because it allows these people to swing, not having to worry about Ivy, or even swing Ivy with it. Also real quick, I just wanted to say is that I don't think it's that bad for us to use the 3 mollies, potentially 2 mollies here, and then 1 molly to clear sandbags, as long as we are communicating with our mid and B player, because on Vertigo, there's only so many things you really need to molly, and these are kind of the most important things. And when we execute A, we only really need 1 Molotov for Emo or Heaven. And if we're going B, we really only need, 2 Molotovs. Obviously, 3 would be better, but even if we are ending B late, if we keep the 2 Molotovs for late round, we can still get a molly here, or, like a molly default, molly triple. So it's not a big deal if we only have 2 mollies in the late round. Alright, that should be it. If you want any more detailed information on how to play Vertigo, I'm going to be working on more in-depth guides for each map. I'm sorry I kind of haven't been doing them recently. I've been busy with, tryouts and finding a new team because I've actually been LFT recently. So I've been a little busy with that, and I'm definitely going to be working on that in the future, and I'll try and get them out as soon as possible. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to, subscribe if you can, like the video. It really does help me a lot, and join my Discord if you want any updates. And yeah. Thank you a lot. See ya.